Good morning, everybody. My name is Terry Sweeney, and we're here outside the Public Utilities Building, and we're going to learn how New Ulm works today at the Public Utilities. Come with me. We're here with Derek Nelson. Derek is our Energy Services representative, and can you tell us really what you do?
Yeah, so like you said, I'm the Energy Services representative. I deal with all customers, residential customers and commercial and industrial customers. So key accounts, I deal with our conservation program, which offers rebates to all customers for energy saving measures that they do in their home or business. And a lot of statistical information as well is what I do. So it's kind of a little bit of everything, plus our media, our bi-monthly newsletter that everyone should receive.
Yep.
I deal with that also. So
I remember when I was mayor that you were like the staff liaison to the Energy Awareness Commission. Is that what we call it?
Yes, yeah. So that's been something that's been around for many years. We've kind of shifted gears and is focusing the Energy Awareness Commission on Green Step cities, which has to do with energy conservation and CO2 emission reduction acts throughout the whole city, whether it's a city, PUC, or other industries throughout the community.
Good. I've always been big on energy conservation, natural resource conservation, and to see that we've got a city department dedicated to that is pretty impressive. Or commission anyway, if
correct,
not department.
Yeah. Yep.
So how many people come into this office, for example, on a daily basis?
Oh, it could be just a few to dozens of people coming in for numerous issues, billing, rebates, just general questions.
All right. How many folks are employed in this department?
We have, well, the utility has numerous departments. We have our electrical production, which is the power plant, which is what we'll be touring today. Electrical distribution, water, wastewater, natural gas. And then the electrical production also produces steam for some downtown businesses for heating and some for their processes that they use at their facilities. So there's roughly, within the whole Public Utilities Commission, there's about 80 full-time employees and 2 part-time employees that are the meter readers.
All right, Derek, well, thanks for your
yes,
time.
We're
going to head down to the power plant and see how they operate.
Yeah, have a great time. Thanks for stopping in.
We're down in the power plant and we're here with Glenn Hillesheim. Glenn, what is your role in the power plant?
I'm the chief engineer down here. I've been down here for roughly 22 years, and basically the chief engineer makes all the decisions of our budget, what projects we want to do going forward. As far as we're constantly upgrading stuff down here as far as updating electronics on equipment.
I believe that.
So you kind of have to pick and choose what you want to do every year and budget accordingly.
How many guys work down? Well, I say guys, I assume it's all men, but maybe not.
No, we have 16 people employed down here. You have 1 lady, and the rest are all either operators, firemen, or boiler operations. And we have 3 guys on maintenance and 1 chemistry that takes care of all the water chemistry in the plant.
Ah, not part of the wastewater group.
No, he does strictly boilers and turbines.
Ah, yes. I've heard it said that New Ulm is capable of powering itself. We could generate enough electricity for our own needs, but it's cheaper to buy it off the grid. Is that still true?
That is correct. We have actually a capability of producing about 70 megawatts. The town of New Ulm, at its peak, is about 44 megawatts.
Ah.
So we can export power onto the grid.
Is that normal in other city power plants?
No, we're kind of an oddity.
Yeah, I've taken pride in being an oddity.
So it's a unique situation, but it's.
I remember touring down here with my Cub Scouts many years ago, when I was a scout leader, and they let the guys blow the whistle. We still got the whistle?
We do. We're one of the few that have a steam whistle yet also. We do it at noon, 1, and 10 o'clock.
So maybe you could show us around the power plant.
I can do that.
Why don't we do that? Go ahead.
Our main operation control room, it takes care of all, in this room we take care of anything that's electrically generated. So they take care of the generators in here, two steam turbines and 2 gas turbines that are down at a different location. So anytime, they take all the after hours calls, so if you have gas problems, water problems, all those phone calls are directed to here after hours, and the operator will send out the appropriate duty men to take care of whatever the problem is or assess the problem. All outages, we're aware of most major outages, or all major outages immediately through our SCADA system. We have 4 substations.
I know our longtime city councilman Charlie Schmitz was with the gas department. Would he have had anything to do with this?
He actually started down here.
Is that right?
In his beginning of his career, yeah, he was also a fireman, and we burned coal at that time, which we no longer do. We quit burning coal in about, I think it was 99 on this side, and on the old side, there's 2 sides of the plant. Basically, this was built in 1965, the new side. The old side was anywhere in the 40s to the 60s when most of that equipment was put in. So we have 3 boilers here. One's a 1941, 1947, and a 1965.
Wow.
So it's all older equipment, but as you can see, we've updated all the controls in the past few years. This used to be all run with pneumatics, and we're actually in the process of painting right now. But now everything what was on this board is all right here. We've condensed everything down to electronics now versus running everything on air.
Does it need a backup? Do you have backup systems?
We have backups for everything, whether it's feed pumps to supply the water to the boilers, fans, everything has to be redundant. If you lose something, you don't want to go offline and either trip a turbine or lose steam pressure uptown to our customers or to our 3 process steam customers. Well, one thing that is kind of interesting that in this room, but we watch basically every day, is we are part of what's called MISO, Mid-Continent Independent System Operators. So we constantly watch the price of every megawatt that's being produced, and we're part of a 13-state grid, and MISO can call us at any time to start one of our gas turbines or these steam turbines. We have basically a 1-day startup notification on these. And the gas turbines, which can start and be put online immediately. It takes roughly 5 minutes to warm up, close the breaker, and we can start producing power for them.
I read something about that last summer. We needed it, right?
We did it actually just over Christmas here also. So whenever the grid is short, they can call us, and we need to produce whatever they demand of us.
Wow.
So up to our basically 50 megawatts that those jets can put out. So it's kind of it's a unique system. You get paid to have them. You got to prove that you can produce X amount of power, and they can call you on that at any time.
Oh,
So that's why we have an operator here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
super. Who goes into this kind of work? Is there schooling that's needed or typically done, or how?
There's testing you have to do. You don't have to go to school, but you do have to take, you have a special license, and then a second class, first class, and a chief. And it takes 5 years experience to get to the chief A part. So you can study at home. You do not have to go to a school, but they do offer classes at various technical colleges to get you ready for a boiler exam.
And you guys are city employees, so you've got city benefits, and I've
Yes.
been a little privy to what some of that is, so it'd be a good job for a lot of people.
Yes, it is. It is shift work. The majority of the people down here are on shifts. And we work 8-hour shifts currently. There's always people that want to do 12s. We've explored it, but at this point yet, we're still on 8 hours rotating shifts. So
8's a good amount.
yes, it's long enough.
My wife did the 12-hour stuff, and she was shot when she'd come home.
So we've been that way for many years. So
Super. Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
that's right.
All right. Well, let's move on. What other parts of the plant would we see?
Well, we can actually take a tour of the main floor. We'll look at number 1 and number 2 boiler and come around here. And
All right.
So on this main floor, the turbine deck area, we have 3 turbines. Off to our right is the GE, which is a 15 megawatt turbine. This is a 6 megawatt, and another 6 megawatt right over here. So like I say, the city of New Ulm takes about, like on a day like today, about 25 megawatts an hour. So these 2 would not be quite enough to supply all of New Ulm, but we have the other gas turbines that we would be able to start and supply.
And so the turbines are powered by steam,
Yes.
is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, they come off the GE, the 15 megawatt machine is powered by 900 pound steam, and these smaller turbines use 400 pounds of steam. And then it's condensed and goes right, all that water goes back into the boiler, so it's just one circle. You know,
I used to work at Abel's Electric Motor Shop when I was in high school. And I even learned how to wind motors. I can't imagine working on something this scale.
Yeah, and it's the exact same thing.
Yeah, just bigger scale,
Bigger
right?
scale, yes. So we'll take a walk down the turbine floor here till we have what's called 2 back pressure turbines. So in 2014, they installed these because before, what they would do was take the 400 pounds and just run it through a pressure reducing valve, and they'd lose all that BTU value. So you were just knocking it down to 140 pounds and down to 7 pounds. These back pressures, they'll actually take that 400 pounds, reduce it, and get electricity off of it. It's a byproduct of knocking the pressure of the steam down.
Sure.
So now we actually, instead of just wasting all that energy, we get electricity from it. So they're producing roughly 400 kilowatts and 200 kilowatts off these 2 machines. So
Oh, that's good.
roughly a half a megawatt an hour that we get for free. Before they were just giving it up. So
Right.
it was a wise investment at the time. It's paid nicely for itself.
Too bad.
So we'll take a look at that. It's a little noisier down here.
What? There it is.
So this is what's called the old side of the plant, and this is what everybody wants to see. Believe it or not, we're one of the few towns that actually blow a live steam whistle at noon, 1, and 10 o'clock, which was considered a curfew. Many years ago, it was just basically to let people know it was time to go back to work.
Yeah.
Lunchtime,
Yep.
go back to work, and then
And by
curfew.
10 o'clock, the kids had to be at home.
That's right. So it's really a simple system. You take 140 pound steam, you run it through here as knife valve, and it goes up, and these are the actual things they pull. That's all it is. And there's a couple whistles up on, different sized whistles up on the roof, and it just diverts the steam through there, and that's how you get your different sounds.
Sure.
It's like a 2-inch line and a 1-inch line of steam that shoots through the roof. So, part of the overall operations here is we take city water in, we run it through some softeners just like you have at home, but much larger. And then from those softeners, it goes through these units, which are called RO units, or reverse osmosis.
Oh, yeah.
And that purifies the water's extremely pure before it gets put into the boiler, because you can't have any of the chemicals or minerals in the water,
Yeah,
or else it'll build up on the tubes,
Right.
which will hurt your heat transfer. So these are, it's all, again, everything's on backups. There's always a unit A and a unit B. Whether it's feed pumps, ROs, softeners, everything's redundant. And multiple ways to run water throughout the plant.
What do little towns like, let's just say Cortland and Searles and stuff like that do for electricity?
They more than likely get it all off from the MISO grid,
All right.
or through Excel or the REA, wherever they're getting their power from.
All
So
right.
they just pull it off the grid.
We don't have lines running out to those.
Nope,
No.
nope. I mean, you got to look at the grid, and we're all connected in some way. It's always, I mean, if we start producing power and we export it, it goes to wherever. It could be going to Cortland, wherever. You can't direct it in any one certain spot. It just goes out and supplies everyone.
I'm seeing a lot of plumbing around us. Do we have in-house staff that does that?
Yes, we have, like I say, we have 3 gentlemen on maintenance, and we try to do everything in-house as far as maintenance goes, other than welding, because you have to have they call it an R stamp, and our guys don't have that. So we take care of, otherwise we do everything in-house. Insulating, plumbing, try to
Super.
keep them busy.
All right.
We can take a walk around this way. Number 1 boiler and number 2. Number 1 was never designed to burn coal. This one and number 4 were. We don't have any permitting anymore to burn coal. So back in the 90s, this one was last used in about 92, burning coal. So you actually had a hopper up above you, and there was a scale right here, and you'd weigh out 2,000 pounds every time you dumped coal. And then you'd move this trolley from side to side, and you can see there's actual hoppers up there. And if you open it and you didn't have the scale under it, you got very dirty, and you had a pile of coal to clean up. And you can actually you could shovel it in here if you had to. So it's just that it's a traveling grate. It threw the coal to the back, burned it, and dumped it into the ash pit. Like I say, we are no longer to burn coal, permitted to burn coal.
So I suppose you could guess the age of somebody or their length of living in New Ulm, because we still refer to the location as the coal pile.
Yes.
Down from German Park there.
Yep. So yeah, like I say, that was basically in the early 90s. It pretty much ended.
I thought it went longer than that.
It did go a little bit longer. We burnt a little bit. We burnt combination for a little while, but like I said, the permitting became very difficult to meet the standards. So we quit.
All right.
This is basically kind of a side view of number 4. You can see by the size of the burners, it's a very large boiler, basically 90 feet from the bottom up to the fans.
Wow.
And then the stacks go up. Top of the number 4 stack is about 130 feet in the air.
Oh, really?
Yep.
10 foot to a story?
Yep.
13-story building.
Yep, pretty much. Like I say, these produce about 150,000 pounds of steam an hour, whereas those produce about 70,000 pounds.
So the steam goes to essentially downtown, but I know used to work at the chamber, and I know we had steam there.
Yep.
Where does it go up to the college? I seem to have it in my head that it did.
No, it doesn't go to the college.
Oh.
We're basically all of Minnesota Street, part of German, but it does go across to the courthouse, Turner Hall.
Oh,
And
yes,
the
Turner.
the new Emerson apartments up there
yeah.
also. They have one of the newest systems too now. So
Do
we've
we-
slowly been trying to pick up customers if we can. It makes our plant more efficient.
I
more
was going to
customers
ask
we
that.
have.
Yeah.
So
that's the reason.
basically, we can produce more steam, runs through those back pressures. We get more free electricity out of it, or a byproduct. I shouldn't say free. There's always a cost to it, but.
So we're creating steam to power the turbines to make electricity, but the excess steam is what goes out for the
Yes.
heating purposes.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
You can look at it that way. Yes.
Yeah. Good.
We have, like say, roughly 100 downtown heat customers or accounts.
Oh, that's
and three
important.
process customers are AMPI, Firmenich, and Black Frost, which we just added. So that runs at 140 pounds process steam. The other steam's about 10 pounds.
All right.
These would be our softeners, obviously a little bigger than what a person has in their house, but
That's right.
it's what we use for softening our water. These were all just installed too about 5 years ago. So like I say, we keep the plant up to date as best we can, like try to get the most efficiency out of it that we can.
You don't need to use any salt. It's that reverse osmosis.
No, the softener uses salt. There's a brine tank.
does.
It's
It does.
exactly like your home setup.
Oh, all right.
And then from here, it goes to the ROs because they need to have soft water to, otherwise it'll plug up the elements inside. So,
Okay.
yep, it's the exact same thing. And a lot of people have small reverse osmosis under their sink for drinking water, and same thing,
Yeah.
just on a much smaller scale. Back to the front of this one is basically identical to number 2 boiler as far as the coal system. So it was easy to train on one side, and you could come over here, and it was just like on the old side. So made it a lot easier for training.
Are you seeing changes in technology that would change how our plant would operate, for example?
There's certainly lots of technology out there. There's a lot of battery storage that's coming online, which helps with the wind energy and solar.
Yeah.
A place to store it overnight when you don't have solar and things like that. But it's all got a ways to go yet. But
Sure.
it's creeping forward, which is good.
Folks, what you can't see is that today is actually pretty cold. I think it's 5 degrees outside. It's very warm and comfortable in here. In some places it's actually hot.
Yes.
What do you do in summer?
You sweat a lot.
It gets pretty warm in here, I
it's-
imagine.
If you go up to the fan floor, it'll be about 130 degrees up there.
Wow.
And down here, it'll be probably between 90 and 100.
Oh,
so yeah,
boy.
you have to be used to working in warm conditions because it does get very warm in here in summer. So this is the top of the actual number 4 boiler. Goes out a 5.5 foot stack, which you can see off to your right here.
Wow.
And that extends roughly another 20 feet above the building.
So things like this, it's what I might call inert. It really, there's not much that can go wrong up here. Oh,
Not up here.
The
The
motor,
fans,
yeah, you lose a
Every-
bearing or whatever.
Yep,
But
everything's water cooled as far as the fans go, bearings. But the boilermen have to make this round basically 3 times a shift, and they check temperatures, make sure there's water flowing. So that's part of their job, is to make sure there's no leaks anywhere, whether it be steam, air, water. And if there is a leak that they can't fix, then we'll call maintenance in. Doesn't matter what time of day or night. We have to fix things that leak here.
but look at the size of the girders supporting things.
Yep, and like I say, we're really kind of a small plant in the big picture of things,
I
you know. But
suppose.
we can take a walk down this way a little bit.
So Glenn, when I retired from being mayor just this past December, people would ask me, what do you think? Is the city in good shape? And I said, not trying to be naive, everything's good and perfect, but I said, yes, I really think so. I think all of our departments are headed by good people, experienced people, and I would imagine you feel the same way about the public utilities. Is that true?
Yes, I believe this plant still does have a lot of life in it yet. I mean, like I say, we keep updating things, and we'll always be needed as a base power plant. Like I say, it's just a matter of keeping abreast of all the newest technologies and trying to use them to your advantage to
Sure.
extend the longevity of the plant.
When I go to PUC meetings, you know, it's a request for authorization to allow this new update for $430,000 or whatever it was.
Yep.
And on one hand, you could think, wow, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. But as you said, as long as we keep up with it, we're in
Yep.
good shape.
Yep, and like I say, you get paid for having those megawatts available to the system. So even if you're not generating, you're still getting paid for it.
Oh, super.
You have to prove that you can do it, obviously, every year. You do what's called an urge test, and it says, you know, if you're putting 15 megawatts into the system off of a generator, you need to prove that you can do that, and we do that yearly, so it keeps your operators up to date, because we are a steam plant first and foremost, and electricity, like I say, we don't run them unless we get called from MISO to run them,
Yeah.
which has been happening more and more now in the last year or so. But yeah, the expenses are large. Like this unit we're going to take apart this summer, and it's almost $500,000 just to split it, but it's mandated by insurance. You have to do it every 10 years, whether you run it 20 hours or 50,000 hours. You're going to take it apart and inspect it.
Well, electricity is such an ingrained part of society. You simply have to have it.
Yes.
There's no question of that. And I think you get what you pay for in life.
Yep.
And if we spend a little on our power plant, it's money well spent.
Yes, I believe it is.
All right. Anything else you'd like to share with us? Otherwise, I think we've covered quite a bit.
Yes.
Super. Well,
Pleasure.
good. Thanks a lot,
Yep,
Glenn.
You bet.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, folks, that's the end of our segment, and I hope you learned a lot on how New Ulm works.